We tend to talk about wealth as if it were a single finish line. In real life, wealth is a spectrum of lived experiences. Each rung on that spectrum changes how you sleep, how you make decisions, how much risk you can take, and what your money needs to do for you. Mapping those levels clearly is more than semantics. It gives you language to diagnose where you are, understand the traps of that stage, and choose the levers that move you upward. This guide explains the journey from survival to legacy in calm, realistic terms, what each level feels like, what typically blocks progress, and the practical transitions that carry you to the next stage. Think of the levels as neighborhoods on a long road. Most of us will visit several of them in our lifetime, and you might slip back a level during recessions, layoffs, or life events. That isn't failure, it's part of the terrain. What matters is learning the skills of each neighborhood so you can navigate forward with fewer detours, less stress, and a plan you trust. Chapter 1: Crisis and Survival. At the base of the spectrum is crisis. Bills outpace income. Rent or utilities are behind. Food choices are governed by price alone. Debt is either past due or growing. Here, the clock is short. Your planning horizon shrinks to days or weeks. You spend energy putting out fires, not planting seeds. And even small administrative tasks, forms, applications, phone queues, feel punishing because your bandwidth is thin. Shame and isolation are common companions at this level. Money conversations often feel like self-criticism disguised as numbers. What moves you up from crisis is not sophisticated investing, it's slack, one thin layer of cushioning between you and the next surprise. If you can carve out even a few hundred in accessible savings, your life stops lurching from emergency to emergency. That slack usually requires two simultaneous actions: raising cash in the short term, extra shifts, selling unused items, small gigs, and cutting a few recurring costs that don't damage your survival, downgrading plans, negotiating bills, eliminating fees. The goal is not elegance, it is to interrupt the spiral long enough to breathe and plan. Chapter 2: Stability, Breathing Room. Stability begins when recurring bills are paid on time and small surprises don't detonate your month. You still think in months rather than years, but the ground feels less wobbly. The main danger at this stage is complacency, mistaking stability for wealth, and lifestyle creep, where marginal income gains are immediately absorbed by nicer versions of the same expenses. The psychological shift here is from reactive to intentional. You start telling your money where to go at the start of the month rather than explaining where it went at the end. The mechanics of leaving stability are simple, even if they require discipline. Automate a modest transfer into a safety account on payday, standardize bill due dates so cash flow is predictable, and stop small leaks, subscriptions and services you forgot you were buying. Visibility is your ally. A 5-minute weekly check-in keeps drift from undoing the progress you fought for. With even 3 to 6 weeks of expenses saved, you're ready to graduate to the next level. Chapter 3: Security, Shock Absorbers. Security adds thicker shock absorbers. You hold 3 to 6 months of essential expenses in boring, instantly accessible cash. Debt is either gone or unthreatening, with interest rates that don't outrun your savings rate. Your calendar stretches. You can plan in quarters instead of weeks. The emotion of this level is relief, but the risk is paralysis, believing that cash hoarding equals safety forever. Excess cash earns little. After a certain point, it becomes a drag on your long-term goals. Graduating from security requires you to split your money into different jobs. Cash protects your life. Investments grow your life. You begin automatic contributions to broadly diversified, low-cost funds. You exploit employer matches if you have them, and you protect your insurance basics, health, disability, liability, so a single event doesn't sling you back down the ladder. The art is maintaining enough cash to sleep well while unleashing surplus to compound for your future self. Chapter 4: Comfort, Predictability. Comfort feels like exhaling. You cover needs and many wants without stress. Vacations are planned rather than financed on credit. Work choices broaden slightly because you're not negotiating from panic.
At this level, the trap is the invisible plateau, a pleasant routine that slowly calcifies into stagnation. Your costs quietly rise to meet your income. Investing happens when there's leftover, which means it happens less than you intend. The way forward is to formalize your growth. Set a target savings rate you can keep in all seasons, perhaps 15 to 20% to start, rising as your income does. Automate raises so a portion is captured before your lifestyle learns the bigger number. Build a simple investment policy that tells you what you own and why, how often you contribute, and how you'll behave during volatility. Comfort becomes a launching pad when routines are designed to move you, not merely maintain you. Chapter 5. Flexibility. Options open. Flexibility introduces genuine choice. You could take a sabbatical. You could weather a layoff without scrambling. You can invest in skills that pay off later. You begin to bend time in your favor. Some of your money returns as income, dividends, interest, rent, small business profit. The psychological shift here is from security to agency. You're no longer only defending your life, you're shaping it. The friction is complexity, as accounts multiply: brokerage, retirement, HSA where applicable, side business accounts. Decision fatigue creeps in. Keep your systems simple on purpose: one core portfolio across accounts, automated contributions, and a quarterly money hour to review and adjust. Reinvest windfalls with a rule. For example, save half, enjoy half, so your future self benefits without choking joy. With a stable savings rate and compounding underway, you approach the threshold many people use as a benchmark: work optional living. Chapter 6. Work optional. Work optional means your essential expenses could be covered by dependable income sources if you chose not to work for a period. That income might be a mix of investment withdrawals at a conservative rate, rental cash flow, dividends, or business profits. In practice, many people at this level still work because they enjoy it or to widen the margin, but the pressure changes. You carry leverage in negotiations, you leave toxic environments more easily, and you evaluate opportunities for fit, not just pay. The risks here are sequence. Bad market years early in retirement can harm portfolios. Concentration, over-reliance on one asset or tenant, and underinsurance. Guard against them with diversification, conservative withdrawal assumptions, and cash reserves that cover at least a year of basic outflows. The reward for careful design is optionality. Time becomes yours to direct, rather than something you sell. Chapter 7. Financial Independence. Base FI. Base financial independence is the moment your sustainable, diversified assets can cover your chosen lifestyle indefinitely, assuming sensible withdrawals and average market behavior over time. The experience is profound. You stop asking, "Can I afford to leave?" and start asking, "What do I want this season to be about?" Work takes on a different quality when it's for purpose, not survival. Challenges do not vanish here, they change shape. Purpose can blur when you remove the external structure of required work. Relationship dynamics shift when schedules no longer align automatically. Inflation and taxes matter more in planning. The craft at this level is designing meaning and maintaining adaptability. Many people adopt a flexible spending guardrail, increasing or decreasing withdrawals within a range, depending on markets. Others blend passion projects, part-time roles, or business ventures with their independence to keep identity and cash flow resilient.
Chapter 8. Abundance. Fat FI. Abundance is base independence with margin. You can fund higher cost preferences, travel at a nicer level, expanded housing, philanthropy, larger gifts, without pressuring your asset base. Risk capacity rises. You can seed new ventures, invest in other people's ideas, or experiment artistically. The best part of abundance is not consumption, it is creative freedom and generosity. The hazard is drift. Without constraints, spending can inflate to fill the space, and effort can scatter across too many projects. Abundance flourishes with intentional structure, a giving plan that reflects your values, a personal R&D budget for learning and experimentation, and boundaries that protect your time from becoming every